We finally have our first proper trailer for Secret of the Mimic, FNAF's next mainline title, and we have a confirmed release date for June 13th. If you're familiar with the Mimic's story and Tales from the Pizzaplex, I'm sure the little snippet of the plot we're given in the trailer set off all sorts of alarm bells for you, but if you aren't, allow me to enlighten you. In the story of the Mimic, Edwin Murray, a single father who works as a contractor for Fazbear, builds a robot that mimics what it learns to occupy his son David while he's busy with work, appropriately named the Mimic. One day, David wonders where is his ball. He's running out on the road, there is a car, and it is going to hit. Weeks after David's death, the Mimic approaches Edwin and repeats the gestures it learned from David. Overwhelmed with grief and guilt, Edwin beats the Mimic with a metal pipe before abandoning his house/workshop, imbuing it with his agony and teaching it something new: violence. Sometime later, Fazbear sends a crew to clean up Edwin's house and retrieve the Mimic. When they enter, they discover that they're not the first to be sent to investigate this and encounter the brutalized remains of the previous workers. The Mimic, wearing various costumes, then attacks the current crew as well, ripping their bodies to pieces. So all this should sound pretty familiar by now. As Retro Hand Unit explains, Edwin has gone missing and it's our job to retrieve the Mimic. In fact, it seems to be one-to-one with the premise of that epilogue. Moreover, the costumes that we see in the trailer are also direct references to the costumes that the Mimic wears in both the story and the epilogues, including the mushroom, the jester, and the elephant, which we also see in Ruin. So that leaves us with two options. Either this is the story of the first team that went in, who's dead by the time of the Mimic epilogue, or we're a potential third team. I feel fairly confident discounting this being the story of the second team since that feels fairly redundant. Since the Mimic has legs, a feature only added by Team A, and Fazbear seems to know that the Mimic is dangerous, I'd place my bets on a Team C, since we already know the outcome of A's mission. Moreover, we're still missing large gaps in the Mimic's story, meaning that a sequel would be more beneficial in answering some of these questions. Of course, I'd be remiss not to mention the green and blue-eyed tiger, David's favorite plushie and the form of the Mimic appears as in The Storyteller and in Tiger Rock. On this note, one detail that's pretty hard to miss in the trailer is the split-second frame that appears before the date reveal, where we can see a hand propped up against the tiger. This has pretty grim implications. Is it possible that we might see David's body in this game? If so, this might be the darkest FNAF game to date. However, I think the real takeaway from this is that if there was any doubt in your mind about the canonicity of Tales, it should be vanquished by now. This trailer is one-to-one with the events of the book, honestly trying to nitpick inconsistencies is splitting hairs in the face of it all. In any case, I'm very excited for June and for what the future has in store. Hopefully Secret of the Mimic will pull all these disparate elements together and we can catch up with our present-day crew with a renewed understanding of what they're up against. If you want to learn more about the Mimic's role in the overall story of Security Breach, check out my revised timeline on my channel, and stay tuned for more about the Mimic's story as we grow closer to learning its secret.